Yeah, I wanted to, ask about just getting your foot into the door, getting into the online, remote work that fits you, fits your personality, um, and your skills and stuff. What's the first thing you did to find your position, remotely?
For myself, one of the things that really helped was getting a full understanding of what it actually meant. Right. So remote work is not just like going to the office and you're working from home, right? You take in a whole separate amount of stresses, if you will, working from the house than you do going to the office, right? You can't decompress like you do when you're driving home on that commute or driving to the office. That stuff happens immediately. So one of the things I found that were useful for me was to make time to kind of adjust for that. So if I go do my exercise, it's like my commute to work, right? If I get off of work, there's some decompression time where maybe I'll go bake some bread or something. Those pieces are kind of similar to the commute. The next piece in that is building an intentional schedule, right? What you find with remote work is you actually have a lot of freedom to do a lot of stuff, and that's not healthy for some people. So we as professionals have to sort of re-gear that, right? Because now, because we're working from home, we may have significant others or children who may not fully understand that role, as well as a work culture who may not. So what I find very useful is building an intentional schedule, right? So I jot out kind of here's the things I want to get done today. If their time blocks are important, they're prioritizing that order. But it's not so broad and huge that I can't get it all done in one day. So I go with the three principles method. I said these are the three things I'm going to do today. After I get these three things done, I'll have done what I need to do for today, right? So that's 15 things a week. At the end of the week, I get that list and look at it and say, wow, I did a lot, right? And in pre-remote work, I would just try to do 2 things a week, right? So I become more efficient doing this. What I find on getting the foot in the door is the inability for folks to fully appreciate remote work has become this sort of market, if you will, or this area where various initiatives are trying to plug that gap, right? So if you take Remote Work Utah as an example, this is helping to create that culture within people who want to work remotely. And it allows me as an employer to say, oh, you've got some remote work experience already through some sort of academic study, right? Some sort of correspondence course or whatever. So I would take a chance to hire somebody who has that over somebody who's never worked remote, right? If I have two candidates, both of them never work remote, but one of them went through the remote work course that's offered by the Rural Online Initiative, hands down, that's the way I would go, right? Because at least you have a better understanding of remote tools, remote methodology, um, and there's probably more risk in taking someone on who hasn't done that. The second boost to getting the job in that space is apply, right? You apply and you market yourself as I have gone through this course. I feel capable, and it becomes a piece of your cover letter or your summary, right? Is remote work certificate, etc. Looking for opportunity to work remotely or something along those lines. That'll stand out to me as an employer looking for a remote worker, right? Versus somebody is, I used to work at the bank and the bank laid me off and I'm looking for a job, but I can't work anywhere except in Phoenix. Well, anybody in Phoenix can work remote, right? So between those two cover letters, the one that says, hey, I'm willing to work remote, it doesn't matter where I'm at, even if you're in the same geographical area, versus somebody who's like, I can only work in Phoenix, one of those is going to stand out better, right? As an employer, that first one that says, hey, here's where I am, I can work remotely, I've taken, this coursework, always an easy choice in that space.